There was a time when I knew exactly why certain people never moved forward in life, no matter how hard they prayed, no matter how sincere they were, no matter how many doors they knocked on. They thought they were being tested. They thought it was just bad timing. Some even blamed themselves. But the truth was darker. Someone else was involved. And before you dismiss that thought, understand this. I am not speaking from theory, sermons, or second-hand stories. I am speaking from participation, from training, from experience. I was a witch, not a social media witch, not a hobbyist. I was trained in laws, spiritual laws that most people don't even know exist. Laws that operate whether you believe in them or not. One of those laws governs blessings. And today, I need to tell you something uncomfortable. Not every delay in your life is coming from God. Not every closed door is heaven saying, wait. Some blessings are being blocked, not destroyed, not cancelled, blocked. And blocks require a blocker. I've watched prayers rise and never land. I've watched favor approach and suddenly divert. I've watched capable, gifted, sincere people stay stuck for years while others advanced effortlessly. There was a reason, and the reason was legal. There is a hidden spiritual law that allows blessings to be intercepted when certain conditions are met. The enemy doesn't need power, only permission. And permission is often granted without the person ever realizing it. If you've ever asked, why does it feel like something is always in the way? If you've ever sensed resistance that doesn't make sensey, if you've ever felt like your life should be further by now, this message is for you. Let me explain what I was taught and what I helped enforce. In witchcraft, nothing works without law. Chaos is a myth. The spiritual realm operates on rules. One of the first things we were taught was this: blessings travel through channels. They are assigned, directed, released, but they can be delayed, rerouted, or stalled if legal grounds exist. We were trained to identify those grounds: unforgiveness, unresolved trauma, unspoken vows, repeated negative confessions, illegal spiritual agreements made through fear, anger, or desperation. Here's the part people don't understand. You don't have to consciously invite darkness for it to work against you. All we needed was access. And access often came through emotional wounds people never healed. When a blessing was assigned to someone with open legal ground, we didn't stop it directly. That would require power. Instead, we petitioned the law, and the law responded. Blessings would slow. Opportunities would collapse at the last moment. Resources would leak away unexpectedly. Relationships would strain without explanation. The person would pray harder, while the blockage remained untouched. That's why effort alone didn't fix it. I need you to listen carefully. The person blocking your blessing is not always an enemy you recognize. Sometimes it's someone close. Sometimes it's someone who smiles at you, Sometimes it's someone who once had access to your trust, your emotions, or your vulnerability. In occult operations, we rarely worked directly against strangers. We worked through connections. A bitter relative, a jealous acquaintance, a rejected friend, a wounded partner. Why? Because emotional access creates spiritual access. We were trained to exploit moments where someone spoke negative words over themselves after an interaction, moments where they questioned their worth, moments where anger, shame, or hopelessness took root. Those moments opened doors. And once the door opened, we didn't chase the blessing. We simply stood in its path. Most people sense the blockage long before they understand it. They describe it like this: I feel stuck. I'm always starting over. Something keeps going wrong at the last minute. I do everything right, but nothing sticks. From the occult side, these were signs of a standing interference, not an attack, not chaos, a presence permitted to delay. That's why motivation fades. That's why clarity disappears. That's why peace becomes inconsistent. It wasn't random, it was enforced. And the enforcement continued as long as the legal ground remained active. This part may shock you. Prayer is powerful, but law outranks desire. We feared people who understood authority, not just faith. People who knew how to revoke permission. People who closed doors intentionally. People who addressed root causes instead of symptoms. Many sincere believers prayed for increase without ever removing the blockage. It was like asking water to flow through a pipe that was legally closed. The prayer went up. The blessing waited. The blockage remained. And nothing changed. Not because God refused, but because the system required correction. Now listen closely, because this matters. Blocks do not break through emotion. They break through recognition and revocation. The moment you acknowledge that something else may be interfering, you shift position from victim to authority. The moment you renounce agreements made through pain, fear, or ignorance, the law changes. In the occult, we were taught to retreat the moment someone closed legal access. Why? Because once permission is revoked, enforcement becomes illegal, and illegal interference cannot stand. This is why awareness terrifies darkness. Exposure dismantles systems that thrived on secrecy. I didn't speak sooner because I wasn't free to. I'm speaking now because too many people are blaming themselves for something they were never taught to identify. You are not lazy. You are not cursed by default. You are not forgotten, but you may be obstructed, and obstruction is removable. Once the law is addressed, blessings don't need to be forced, they resume. Flow returns, clarity returns, momentum returns. That's what we feared most. Let me end with this. If your blessing were cancelled, you wouldn't feel resistance, you'd feel nothing. Resistance means something is trying to pass through. Your frustration is evidence of proximity. Your awareness today is not accidental. Now that you know the law exists, it can no longer be used against you in the same way. And that is why this message matters. Stay alert, stay aware, and remember, what is blocked can be released. The restoration path